Mondays with Mom,
That's me.
the podcast where my mom, Leah, and I, Joe, dive into her stories, experiences, and the lessons she's hoping I finally take to heart. My mom has always dreamed of turning her story into a book or a movie, and this podcast is our way of making that happen. And we have a fun time doing it.
Thanks for making it happen.
So, Mom, what do you want to talk about this week?
Well, I was actually having my nails done.
Love that.
And I've kind of been a bit risque, and I've done something that I don't usually do.
Which is bright red.
Bright red.
Yeah. They're
So-
quite risque for you.
Yeah, exactly. So while I was having my nails done, I was listening to the nail technician who was telling me this horrible sounding story about what she's gone through. She rents on the ground floor
Yeah.
of this apartment building in Athens, and one of the owners of the apartments, who lives on the fourth floor, who's 75 in the
Oh.
shade apparently, and who has her two young sons.
Yeah,
The one
like
being quotes, yes, the one being 40 and the other one being 55, living with her because she won't allow them to leave and because no woman is good enough for them.
That's the classic
Classic Greek mom.
classic Greek mom monster-in-law waiting
But this
to
one
happen.
is like she's taken monster to the next level, literally beyond the fourth floor, and she makes these
Literally beyond the
people's
fourth
lives a living hell. What she actually told me today, and it really reminded me of something that happened in my life, and I thought we'd talk about that today. But what she actually told me is, you cannot believe this, is that on Valentine's Day this year, she's done a lot to this woman, but on Valentine's Day this year, she decided, she's like this old woman who lives by herself with her two sons, and well, that's not really by herself, but I guess. Anyway, she decided that Valentine's Day is a day for lovers. And so she called the police on the nail technician to tell them that she's very concerned because the people on the ground floor, their lovemaking is too loud. That it's
the fourth floor?
Yes, she could hear it from the fourth floor to the first floor. And when the police arrived, this woman's husband hadn't even arrived home yet. So there was no such thing. But the police active arrived. Yes, and this nail technician told me that literally this woman finds a reason once a week to call the police.
That's wild.
I mean, I suggested to her.
Imagine having the time.
I actually asked the nail technician if she's planning on having any more children because she's got a young daughter. And she said, yeah, she's thinking about having one more. And I said to her, you know what, why don't you write up an ovulation schedule and put it under this woman's door so that she knows which days to call the police, because that's the day. I mean, I've never heard of anything so ridiculous.
It's insane.
But anyway,
some people have time.
No, but it's not the having time. You've got to have time and be a little miserable, not very nice person.
Yeah, she has to be miserable as well if she's also like stopping her sons from finding people out as well.
Exactly. I mean, it's not normal. She can't be happy in that situation.
It's not normal for someone at 45 or 50 plus to still be living at home.
Two sons. I mean, quite scary. Anyway, but what it reminded me of was horrible neighbors.
And
And
you've had a few.
I have had a few.
And I've shared them, but I've been too young to really realize.
Exactly. So there's one, though, that particularly stood out.
Yeah.
And I thought today would be a good time to come out with it.
Yeah.
So basically, when I got divorced from your dad, initially for a short period of time, about a year, we rented a house. And the house we rented was a cluster.
Yeah.
So cluster means that although the house is within a gated complex, the houses are smaller and very close together, and they all kind of look more or less the same.
Yeah.
So there aren't big differences between them. And that was quite a nice house because...
I remember it.
Yeah, do you remember what you used to do?
Yeah, we had a big garden.
We had a big garden, and your favorite activity, it had one of these nice old-fashioned wash lines that would spin around.
Spin around on a rider.
Yes.
Spin around it like a cowboy.
So I wonder if I should, before I get onto the neighbor, because that's just reminded me of something, tell the story.
ADHD.
No, tell the story of you, because since I'd recently gotten divorced and I was in this cluster, I am a bit ADD.
Insane.
Yeah. So we were there and I was trying to normalize things for you and for Tina. And so my sister had suggested that we get a dog.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we'll talk about the dog another time, but she was a real cutie pie, a little Pomeranian.
A real sweetie.
But
and one of the biggest drama queens I think I've ever met in my life.
Exactly. And you guys, you and Tina, both thought this was the cutest dog you had ever seen, and you really, really wanted this dog to have puppies. Because what can be cuter than the puppies of the cutest dog in the world?
Yeah.
So you came up to me because you were 4 at the time. You were like turning 5 in a couple of days, or maybe you had just turned 5.
Yeah.
You know, now I had already made these awesome plans that the minute I could have this dog spayed, I would have her spayed because I couldn't handle more expenses than the expense of having a dog. You know, being single mom with 2 children, and anyway, trying to make it work. And so you came to me and asked me whether
I remember this. Well, I don't remember this since I remember you telling me.
Yeah, and the dog's name that you guys chose, if you remember, obviously you remember,
Barbie.
Was Barbie.
After the doll, because it was the coolest thing at the time for us. It was all we had. We were obsessed.
And I don't even think you should say we, because we got
obsessed.
this dog. You might have both been obsessed, but we got this dog at night.
Tina was 2.
Tina was 2, and she fell asleep in the car as we got the dog, and you just kind of chose the name.
Yeah, I chose the name because I was better at choosing names objectively. Because when we had another opportunity to name a pet, we got my dad adopted a cat. We each chose a name, and he picked out of a hat, and her choice was Kitty the cat.
Oh, she used to do that with everything.
Her toys were Sheepy the sheep, Uni the unicorn. So objectively, my name choosing abilities were way better and more advanced. Also, I had Barbie duvet covers and pillow covers, and we had Barbie dolls.
True. With lots of clothes.
And not a dream house really, but it was a doll house that we used for her house. And a car.
Exactly.
I don't know when we got the car. We eventually had a Barbie car as well. So we were, I was at least certifiably obsessed.
Yeah. Now, even and you had given the dog the name, and you were obsessed with the dog as well. You and Tina absolutely adored her, and you just wanted more of her. So you wanted her and puppies, and so you came to me and you said to me, "Mom, will Barbie's puppies look like her?"
Yeah.
And I said, "Well, Joe," being like a nice mom, and I remember having spoken to a psychologist for my children getting divorced, and this particular psychologist used to say things like, when you're looking after your children, you need to use teachable moments. And so this to me seemed like a teachable moment. Ooh. So I thought to myself, okay, my child is asking. And I thought the teachable moment is to explain to my daughter that, you know, in order to create a new little creature, you need a mom and a dad. So I definitely wasn't going to let you know that I was going to have Barbie spayed at the first opportunity. So I said to you, well, I said, I'm not sure if her puppies will look like her. It also depends on what the dad looks like.
Yeah.
And having just left your dad and moved out and you know, going through a divorce, you came to me, like you said, looked at me and you said to me, why does she need a dad?
Yeah.
And
strong, independent woman.
And created by a dad and a mom. But I decided
that was irrelevant to me at the time.
And I decided that what I was going to do is kind of like explain to you that, you know what, Joey, everybody has a dad. And I said to you, look, I've got a dad. And I mentioned your grandfather. I mentioned your cousins. And I said, look, their dad is your uncle. And then I said, look, you've also got a dad. Mm-hmm. And you kind of accepted my explanation and you walked off to give it some thought, you know, to kind of, I thought you were trying to picture what kind of dad Barbie would choose. And you came back to me a few minutes later. And this is like, of the cutest things I've ever heard. And this is how, you know, you realize how children's minds work. And you came back to me and said, Mom, I've got an idea. And I said, yes. And you said, if we tell Barbie she's divorced, then we don't need a dad. And I was like, oh, Lord, what have I done? My teachable moments didn't go very well, but that was really cute. I thought that's a cute side story to tell. It's one of the sweetest things you've said, and I'll never forget it. So now, on this note,
going back to the story.
And it's good that we kind of introduced Barbie into the topic because the new place we moved into was now a townhouse. And the difference with townhouses is that they're actually, you also have an individual house, but they're stuck together with the other houses. So you have a lot less privacy. Mm-hmm. And your neighbors are literally on top of you. And the particular townhouse that we went to, we had people that were next door to us,
Above
even though
us.
our house was a double story. Exactly. You had someone who was above us, and then we had people that were across from us and someone that was above them.
Yeah.
And so there were a lot of people there and a lot of people kind of watching us. And one of the people that were kind of across from us and diagonally across was part of the body corporate that would make the decisions for the apartment. And she was a little bit similar to this 75-year-old woman, except that not even the sons would live with her. Everyone had left her. The husband had left her, the sons had left her, and I wasn't surprised.
Yeah.
She was divorced, like me, and her children had moved out of home. I'm sure they like left to live with their dad. She was nasty, really nasty. And she decided that because she kind of looked at me and saw that it was me and my two little children and a little dog, that we would be easy to bully.
Yeah.
And she bullied us at every opportunity.
Really?
You cannot believe. You do remember how we used to take Barbie out when we were taking her out?
We had to sneak her out.
We would sneak her out the house.
Because technically we were told we weren't allowed to have the dog, even though there were other people.
My next door neighbor had a dog.
And so, but they told us it was against like
They said that they've created a new rule suddenly and no dogs are allowed. And in the beginning, before I actually had enough of this woman, I kind of was a little bit nervous. I just moved into this place. I was feeling a bit anxious, and she kind of threw the rule book at me, and it sounded very official, and she threatened to get lawyers involved. And at the time, like anything, I would hear the word lawyer and I would see dollar signs flying away. And I thought, oh God, it's going to be expensive now. I can't do this. So anyway, she bullied us a lot about the dog, and eventually we stood up to her. But the other thing that really upset her is my domestic worker or helper, Toko.
Yeah.
And what really upset her, because she'd kind of do these rounds and go around our townhouse and be like staring. Exactly. We had Big Brother staring. She noticed that Toko was there from way too early in the morning and way too early at night.
Way too late at night.
Way too late at night. So she decided that possibly I was breaking another golden rule, which was your domestic worker is not allowed to live in.
Did they ever give reasons?
Apparently, in this complex, initially, what they did was they had a separate building altogether that was made for domestic workers, where each person would have their own room, their own kitchen, their own bathroom. And then, they were close to other domestic workers who also had the same setup, so they could socialize and stuff. And apparently, what was happening is some domestic workers were bringing in boyfriends and others husbands, and the music was playing loudly and people were getting drunk and celebrating and partying, and the complex decided this was not safe, this was not acceptable. So they took an entire building that we all had a right to rent a room from and just shut it down and said no more domestic workers are allowed to live here. You can have a domestic worker, she must arrive for work.
Yeah, it's a bit like much.
It is a bit much, but when there are people like that making the rules.
Yeah, when they're
and she had been part of this complex and part of this body corporate for, I don't know, she looked like it had been 100 years. I must admit, I don't have any like warm, fuzzy feelings about her. But the other thing is that I think I had heard that she used to work as a receptionist for a gynecologist.
Yeah.
And, I would think, really? Is that who you found? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
She was cruel and nasty. And I thought, people that work for gynecologists should be sweet and kind. And, this one was a piece of work. Anyway, so I sneaked the dog around for a while and she complained. I then had another disaster that, which we'll go into another time, but just for the purposes of this discussion, my house flooded again. The townhouse flooded, which maybe I should bring it in here because, Joe, I think you might have had something small to do with that.
I've seen the first.
Okay.
No comment.
So
I won't talk without my lawyer.
We said lawyers cost money. We've just discussed this. We don't want lawyers here. But anyway, yes. Well, just a quick story on this one. What had happened is that the water in the entire area that we lived in had been shut down for maintenance for 2 days. And so, we got used to the fact that we'd open our taps, no water would come out, and we'd close the taps. And you were a very thirsty child, especially in the middle of the night. So the one night after the water had been off for 2 days, you got up. It must have been, I was asleep already, must have been at midnight.
Yeah.
And you decided you wanted to drink water. You had finished the water out already left on the side of your bed, and you thought you're just going to go to the bathroom and get some water.
Yeah.
So you turned the tap and no water came. So you turned it more and turned it more and turned it more. No water came. And then you remembered that, oh, we don't have water at the moment. So you went back to bed, leaving the tap open. At around 1 or 2 a.m., the water was restored. And this water started running. But I'm a deep sleeper. You're a deep sleeper. Toko, who was sleeping in the house, is also a deep sleeper. And Tina was still quite young. And so we all slept through this. And because the townhouse we were living in was kind of old, it had been built very many years ago, was built really well, but the water pipes weren't designed for these. You know, the people in those days, I don't know, they would bath sparingly, like wash their little parts here and there with, I don't know, a face cloth in those days.
I'm picturing when it was flooded.
So, and then, so at around 3 a.m., I think, I woke up thinking, why is Toko showering at 3 a.m.? She really doesn't have to start work until 7. So what is her problem? And she carried on showering and carried on showering, according to me. So I decided, let me go put a stop to this. So I put my foot out of bed and I was ankle deep in water. Ankle deep. I go to the bathroom because I used to lock Barbie up in the bathroom. And as I opened the bathroom door, she was like Moses on the basket. Her bed was floating on the water. I rescued the poor dog, put her on the bed. I had no idea what had happened and then I noticed the tap, turned it off. And as I opened the bedroom door to just inform Toko that, listen, I think I flooded, all the water just went rushing down the stairs. It was an interesting experience, but which we can go into the details at a later stage. But what basically came out of that was because everything I had was flooded. My furniture was ruined. I had a balcony, and what I did was I put the stuff out onto the balcony to dry. And this woman would come past and send me these disgusting letters from lawyers and from body corporates telling me that I am making the complex look more ugly because I'm putting furniture on the balcony. And I explained to her that my unit had flooded. And she kind of implied, don't make your problems my problem.
Yeah.
So it was
That's mean.
Yeah, she was really, really mean. Anyway, at some point with people I worked with, I had a guy that I worked with, and he was involved in one of the body corporates, and he kind of gave me some strength and some tips because he kind of told me that what she was doing with saying that the neighbor's allowed a dog and I'm not is completely unconstitutional. And although there are rules that under normal circumstances you don't store your whole house on your balcony, when you flood it, of course you're allowed to. And he kind of gave me a general rule book for all body corporates of all townhouses.
Yeah.
And so I started, kind of feeling a little bit feisty and developing a little bit of strength. And I thought, okay, this woman, I'm going to stand up to her. I'm not going to let her push me around. So I stopped hiding the dog.
Yeah.
And I thought, come for me if you want. And she didn't then. But because she kept going past and looking to see anything that she could complain about, she realized from her scrutiny of our daily routine that Toko was actually living in the house with us, which she was.
Yeah.
And so she came to me, and no, she didn't come to me. I was at work, and she went to Toko and left a letter from the body corporate stating categorically that domestic workers are not allowed to live on the premises.
Yeah.
And Toko didn't open it. It was sealed. She waited until I got home, and I looked at this letter, and something in me snapped. It just snapped. So I decided I was going to handle this a different way. And so when this woman came past to kind of tell me what I should do and how now she's going to
can pass again after the letter.
She can pass after the letter to see my response to the letter.
Okay.
And to see like what have I done about it and why is the domestic worker still here?
Yeah.
And I just said to Toko, I said, listen, Toko, just follow my lead. Just listen to what I'm saying and follow my lead. And I said, back me on this one. And Toko's like looked at me a bit weird, and I said, back me on this one. So the woman arrives and she said to me, you know, you've already received the letter and you know that you're not allowed to have domestic workers on the property. And I turned around and I said, well, this isn't a domestic worker. And Toko was looking at me and thinking, and this woman was looking at me, and I said, well, let me tell you what she is. She is my lesbian lover. And this woman, the woman of the body corporate just stopped. She's like, and I said to her, you know what? Please tell me what your problem is. Is your problem with me that I'm lesbian? Or is it that my lesbian lover is black? Oh. Well, Toko, I promise you, I could just see Toko was like, firstly, her eyes grew big, and then she was like battling to keep a straight face. She was practically rolling on the floor with laughter. This woman, like, her jaw just dropped, and she knew that in South Africa, in the 2000s,
in the Constitution,
exactly,
you cannot discriminate by not sexuality. You're not allowed. You can't. That's one of the
exactly
ingrained in the Constitution.
And so you know, I looked at her and I said, I earn the money, and she keeps me happy.
You're such a badass.
Listen, she kind of had pushed me to the point of no return.
Yeah.
And so thereafter, every time this woman would come past and I could see that she was coming to check, I'd like slip my arm around Toko's waist or give Toko a big hug at the time. And I thought, come lady, come for me. Give me your best shot.
Yeah. What is she going to say? What can she say?
You know, after that, she backed off.
Yeah, good.
She backed off. And I didn't have any more problems with her, which was, you know, she kept trying to find something. And I thought, give me your best shot. What else are you going to say? So that was quite funny.
That is quite funny.
So I was trying to advise the nail lady, but I don't think she's reached her limit like me yet. So might take a little bit longer before she confronts her neighbor.
I mean, it's still crazy to call the police for because they might, you know, for a noise complaint that's like not even a noise complaint. It's like a potential noise complaint.
I know.
It's a bit wild. It's like,
and the problem is, like, apparently the law in Greece is such that if you call the police, they have to come.
I mean, I'm sure that's the law in most places.
No, but I'm thinking like the 12th time. She told me that the police have been there many times.
Very well.
Yeah, I mean the 12th time this woman is calling to say come over. And I mean, really? And what would the police do? Like say, please don't have sex tonight because you're upsetting your neighbor.
It's a complete waste of like time and resources. It's
completely. But eventually, after we kind of stood up to this woman, living in this townhouse was one of the nicest things we did.
Yeah. I really liked that house.
Yes.
It was really nice. Has lots of good memories.
Exactly. I think we'll definitely have an episode to discuss how we got the house, how we ended up living there. Because I mean, that's really fun.
It is a fun episode.
And eventually, I think none of us, even though when we eventually moved, we moved to a much bigger and nicer house with lots of privacy. We were very sad to leave that.
Yeah, we were. Yeah, and we did have some good neighbors as well. We didn't just have...
Yes, we did have some good neighbors. Our direct neighbors were very good.
Yeah.
I'm not going to reveal her name.
No.
Because I've decided no names will be blackened on this podcast.
Except for our own.
Except for our own, exactly. Except for yours and mine.
Yeah.
And we might include one or two people just...
And those are the blackest names of all.
Absolutely.
So what is the lesson?
So yes, the lesson is... bullies, the only way is confront them head on.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Know your rights.
Know your rights. And even if you don't know your rights, just stand up for yourself. You know, don't let people push you around like that, especially if they're women and they're over the age of 75 and everyone they know has left them.
I think it's true, not just that. I think it's universal. And also, life's too short to let yourself get pushed around by weirdos who have too much time on their hands.
Exactly. So the whole thing is that, you know, instead of like shying away and being you got to like stand up to them and...
Yeah, that's a good lesson.
And you got to be creative.
I mean, you were creative. I don't know if I would have done the same thing. I think I would have been a bit worried.
Anyway, I think it's a kind of a skill that you establish, and also I think it's when people push you past the point of no return. And I had gone past that point, like I had left it a mile behind me.
I mean, you're a strong, powerful woman. And I'm very grateful to have you as a role model.
Thanks, my Joey.
You and Togo, actually.
But it's been great.
Yeah, it's been great fun. I love your stories.
There was
I also love the ADHD twists and turns. And
yes, I kind of go in like something happens, and I think this one I'm going to discuss, and then while I'm trying to talk about that, I think of something else. And
your nails look really pretty, by the way.
Thank you, and so do yours.
Thank you.
And I look forward to our next story.
Yeah, me too. On to the next one.
Sounds good.
Sounds good. Bye.
Bye, everyone.